Yeah, so you're leaving FIFO to become a teacher?
Yeah, eventually. Like, you start throwing like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 around. And they're like, oh, you should be. Fancy seeing you here.
Okay.
No, I've forgotten already. What'd you say? Welcome to Fit for Fifo this week.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome to this week's episode.
Welcome to this week's episode of Fit for Fifo.
Yes, and this week we got Chris Brown on the show. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Anytime, mate.
AKA Browny. Brown dog.
Yep.
Brown snake.
Brown town.
Brown town.
On.
So we've I've actually decided to change the structure of Fit for Fifo. It's going to be more of a raw episodes, more of a podcast style theme. So there'll be no editing, saving time, and then we'll release the whole episode, and then in between each episode we'll release more focused questions and topics in a shorter format.
Beautiful.
Yes, and so with since releasing the series, I've been looking into what people want, and changed it a little bit. So the podcast style, added a few new segments, and one thing I noticed as a result of everyone I was going to interview, they'd show up with a six-pack of beer in their hand. So I decided to supply a six-pack myself.
About time.
Yeah. Not only that, but I thought it'd be a good opportunity to maybe review a couple of beers. So Browny, your first job will be to review this week's beer. Now, we've got a can of Norman from Yuli's Brews down in Sydney there.
Yuli's.
I've tried them and I reckon they're pretty good. But tell us what you reckon, mate.
Oh, I can't even open it.
So this one's the Australian Ale.
Australian Ale.
What do you reckon?
You can really taste the Australia in it.
What do you reckon of it, mate?
Yeah, it's good.
They're good, aren't they?
Yeah.
What do you reckon about the logo?
Can't draw for shit.
Well, to be honest,
good.
when I first saw it, I was like, "That's an ugly label." But in fairness,
it's unique.
You never forget that label.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So moving on from that, the other thing that I noticed, I suppose, in doing these interviews was a lot of people were saying that they wanted to get to know the character a bit more. It was a bit too surface. So I was asking questions that were so specific to FIFO, and no one actually got to know the character. So I thought, to break the ice, I started a new segment, and it's called Stalkbook. This is only a short one.
Oh, good.
It's just, you can guess what it is. So I've just got a couple of photos off your Facebook. I just wanted to ask what they were. So this is the first photo. This one here. Can you explain that one?
Yeah. Can I explain that one?
And the bloke next to you too.
I can't explain the bloke next to me, but I went to a music festival. I think it was Splendour in the Grass a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Dressed as Popeye.
Popeye. Right.
Yeah.
That's it. You ready for the next one? No. I can edit this out. If you're not happy, I can edit it out. Oh. What is that?
I was making a Tinder profile, and I thought I didn't have any manly photos, so I made that one up.
Right.
It's a bit of an icebreaker.
Yeah, right.
How do you reckon it worked? Not very well.
Wood chopper. Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, still single.
Okay. That explains it. Oh, God. All right. No, that's good. Thanks for that, Browny.
Thank you.
Now, can you actually, let's talk about your experience in FIFO. So, tell us from start to finish, just a summary of your time.
So, 2012, I started working in Queensland on the gas fields as an electrician.
Yep.
From that, I bounced around Queensland for a few years. Started studying instrumentation, and became an E&I tech. Through that, ended up last year working in Darwin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was the reason you got into it?
Mainly the money.
Mm-hmm.
Money and experience, yeah.
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 Did you enjoy the experience?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Not all the time,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, to be honest. There were good times, there were bad times, there were times when I loved the job, there were times when I hated it. Met a lot of great people, met some people I didn't like, that's life. Yeah, all in all, it's allowed me to do a lot of great things, and I've met a lot of great people.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose one thing I noticed when I was setting up for Stalkbook, I was having a look on your Facebook, and I did notice like all the countries you'd been to.
Yeah.
You've been to a bloody lot of countries, and I suppose that's a result of FIFO.
Yeah, it's financed my travels, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Been to about 30 different countries, I think,
Jesus.
since I've been in FIFO.
Yeah.
That's been good.
Nice. And what would you say, I suppose, some of the negative things you didn't like about it, or things that were harder, things that...
The sort of time you spend away from home and away from your friends and family.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the hardest part. And even though you're not working incredibly physically hard, the sort of the mental side of it, the hours you do, it takes its toll on you mentally. Like you need, for myself, I find I need to take breaks from it. I'll work for a year or two, and then I'll need to get out of it for a while. Yeah.
And best tip for I know the best tip all around for working in FIFO. What would you say?
Comfortable socks.
Good socks.
Good socks.
That's all right. It's
good socks.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, the reason I actually, probably the main reason I brought you on the show was you've made a pretty, I'd call it a noble decision to leave the industry for something.
Noble guy.
Something, very different. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So I've started studying a Bachelor of Education. It's a industrial entry teaching degree, which is shorter than your normal teaching degree, and so at the end of that, I'll be a industrial arts or design and technology teacher in high school.
Yeah, so you're leaving FIFO to become a teacher?
Yeah, eventually.
Sweet. And I'll ask it like a FIFO worker. Why the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah, I get a lot of that from the guys at work and stuff. Like, they're like, "Why are you doing that? There's no money in it." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely understand that, but it's a lifestyle change."
Okay. Yeah.
FIFO's been really good to me, but I need a change, and within the next 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be transitioning out of FIFO and into teaching.
Yeah. And why did you choose teaching?
It's something that I've always been interested in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I suppose your options were stay in FIFO forever and...
Yeah, like I don't think you could virtually do anything you wanted to do. I know guys that have dropped out of FIFO and started restaurants and bought like villas overseas, and they run those now and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, I want to be a teacher. Yeah. And that's the path I've chosen. Yeah.
Right. And how long when did you make this decision, and how long have you been studying? And
I made the decision to definitely do it about a year ago. Okay. And started studying at the start of this year. Yeah.
Was there anything in particular that triggered it, or like an event, or?
Probably my age. I turned 30 this year, and I was thinking about teaching about 5 years ago, and that 5 years went really quickly, and I was like, I actually need to make moves towards this, or another 5 years will go really quickly. Right. Yeah. So that was it.
Yeah. So that sort of became your exit plan, I suppose.
Yeah.
Out of FIFO. Yeah. What would you say? Like, I suppose the sort of FIFO you're doing construction.
Yeah, construction.
Big size.
A little bit of maintenance and shutdowns. commissioning.
Yeah.
Fair.
Big swings though, like 3-in-1s and 4-in-1s.
Yeah, 4-in-1s, 3-in-1s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And how are you finding now, like, since you've left, what are the differences, I suppose?
Well, left FIFO.
FIFO, yeah.
Well, I'm still working in FIFO, but more of I'm doing shorter little stints and smaller sort of roles instead of getting on the bigger jobs and doing those long runs. It changes. Yeah, the income is not coming in anymore like it used to.
Yeah.
So that's a major change. I have a lot more time.
Yeah, yeah. Is
Yeah.
it working for you? Would you say?
I just took a couple of months off to study,
Okay.
and it actually didn't work because I used to get more university work done when I was working, because I went from one structured environment to working online, another structured environment. Now when I have so much free time, I find that I just procrastinate even more and
Yeah.
don't do anything.
Right. So it supported it in a way, I suppose? Or?
Yeah, it supported it financially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll have to go back to work or find some balance between the two to get it done properly.
Yeah,
So-
right. And do you think that it'll work out in the end, sort of thing? How you feeling about it after? What has it been a year since? Was
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah,
You still feeling confident in your decision?
I'll get it done eventually.
Yeah.
Like there's many options to defer, and so say if I want to go and work for 6 months, I can defer that 6 months and go and work really hard for 6 months, and then whatever, or however it works out. I'm confident that I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah.
And what do you reckon the biggest challenge has been?
The biggest challenge to my studies.
Yeah, like the decision, the whole.
It's like self-discipline to actually go through and actually do what you intend to do. So yeah, it would be like, sometimes I feel it's easier that if I just go, why am I studying? I could just be working and earning money and living and whatever. But I want to be a teacher eventually, so I've got to do the hard yards to get there.
Yeah, of course. Now you're a single man.
Yep.
So it's probably a lot different to a bloke that's with a family. So
Yeah.
how could you see it happen? What would it look like you reckon, for a bloke with a wife and kids, or a female with a husband and kids? Like, do you think it could be possible?
It'd be definitely possible, but it'd be harder for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of even talking to people in the same course that I am, like they'll be studying at night and cooking dinner and putting kids to bed and stuff like that, where I don't have to worry about that sort of stuff.
You're studying with others that are...
Yeah, there's I think there's about
children and
120 people in my course, so yeah, there's a whole range of people, all ages. Yeah, so I can't remember if I've met anyone that's doing FIFO, but
Yeah, right. And like going into, like, I suppose a bit deeper into your decision to do this, like FIFO, the life can be. I mean, you could have always chose to go to do an even time roster, or like
yeah.
I mean, you've got experience and stuff, you've got a good name for yourself in the industry, so you would have had
the best.
you would have had plenty of opportunity, I suppose, to go to an even time roster, but you've chosen this.
Yeah, it's more. The decision was that I wanted to get out of it completely. Eventually, I just found that I've lost interest. I used to love it, and I used to love the work and be really interested in it. And I'm finding the further I go along, I'm not that excited about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I need to find something else that interests me.
Yeah. And what about the money? Like, how do you feel about
the pay cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I used to live on that wage when I was in my early 20s,
Yeah.
or a similar wage. It's possible, and there's millions of people doing it.
Yeah.
I just need to adjust.
Yeah.
And with my spending.
Did that affect your decision to?
Not really.
No. Did you think you'll just make the choice and then just like work out how to do it then?
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah. And like the great thing about it, the trade is you always hold it. It's for life. So if I ever need have the need to go back to it, I always can.
Yep. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so how many years did you say you were in FIFO for, sorry?
2012.
Yeah.
About
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah, that's explained a lot. I suppose, though, what would you say to guys? What I think a lot of guys would be questioning is, like, it's a big decision, isn't it, for you to do this? Like,
Yeah.
and especially in terms of, like, income and lifestyle.
Yep.
It's a really big decision. What are you expecting, and like, yeah, what's the actual? How do you feel it's going to change and stuff? Like in the future, what do you see your life going to be like in the future, as opposed to now, I suppose, or doing from FIFO?
I expect to be not travelling as much, because it's just not going to be viable.
Yeah.
I guess I'll be a bit more grounded. I'll be in one location probably the majority of the time, and working a lot less, and yeah.
And what's the benefits of actually being a teacher, that taking that job?
Benefits. You have a lot of holidays. You have all the public holidays, all the big ones off, like all your Christmases and Easters and all that sort of stuff, which is not guaranteed with FIFO. There's once you get into it for a while, there'll be and you secure a job, there'll be, I can't think of the word, job security.
Yeah, job security. Yeah.
So more job security. Where I've been working on contract basis for the last 6 years, so I've had jobs that have lasted for a month, and for one reason or another they've finished, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And how do you feel about being a role model for children?
Yeah, that's probably a hard pill to swallow, that one, that I'll actually be accountable to people, where in the past I've never really been. I would never have considered myself a role model. It'll be difficult. I'll definitely have to make some adjustments, especially in my language, I use at the workplace, and things like that. It'll be different.
Yeah. It'd actually be good to do an interview at a later stage when you actually start teaching and see what the differences are.
A few years' time.
Yeah, that'd be cool, because I've seen similar situations where people who've been a tradesman for many years feel that they don't have the qualities of, like what it takes to do another job in life. Like a lot of tradesmen that work in construction believe they don't have people skills, and I've heard this many times. And then I've seen guys such as my father, actually, he's a boilermaker, and when he stepped out of working in construction, he realised that it was actually not that big a deal, and he did have what he didn't think he had. So yeah, it'd be interesting to.
You can always learn something new.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Alrighty. Well, I've got another quick little segment I thought I'd try. This is not embarrassing or anything like that. It actually comes from Tim Ferris. He wrote the 4-Hour Workweek, and he wrote this book called Tribe of Mentors, he wrote a book which was he made up 11 questions which he felt would explain the fundamentals about life. Yeah. And he asked 100 people these questions, and he wrote a book based on what he'd learned. So I've got these 10 questions, or 11 questions for you. I thought, just to keep things quick, if there's one you got no idea, just go pass. All right. I'll move on. So, what book have you given as a gift most, or what's 1 or 3 books that have affected your life, like most significantly?
Good question. Given as a gift, I usually, my general rule is I always read it and pass it on, so I don't really give books as gifts repeatedly.
So the book that's made the biggest influence on your life was?
I actually read this book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, when I first started FIFO, and it gave a really different sort of insight into life, because the story is virtually this guy who is working a 9-to-5 job and then goes on this massive journey, and it's that was a really good one to see that there is alternative ways of doing things, and so that's probably one. Another book that comes to mind, maybe because I just watched the movie, is Breathe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tim Winton book.
Shit movie.
No, I like the movie, but whatever. Horses for courses.
Yeah.
Read recently.
That's all right. That's enough, mate, I think. Unless you got another one you really want to
There's another one that came to mind, is Band of Brothers.
Okay.
It's a movie based on a book based on a unit of soldiers in World War II. That it was.
What impact did it have?
It's just it really got into the nitty gritty of their everyday life and what it was like, and it was really interesting, and to see what people can endure.
Yeah. Okay. So it gave you a bit of
it gives you a bit of perspective when you go, this. Say you're having a shitty time, and you go, well, it can't be as bad as that.
Life's not that bad sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. Question 2 is what purchase for $100 or less have you made that has positively impacted your life? Say in the last 6 months.
Last 6 months.
Yeah. $100 or less you've spent, and it's made a positive impact.
I can think of the first surfboard I ever bought was $100. Yeah. So when I got into surfing, that was
6 months ago.
No, not 6 months ago, but I couldn't think of anyone's one 6 months ago. But yeah.
What's surfing done?
Changed my life, actually. Yeah, changed the way I view things and the way I travel. And
sore eyes, red eyes. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, tell us about a failure that you've had in life that's set you up, like something you've learned from a big failure you've had.
I wouldn't call it a failure, but I did at one stage. I had this idea that I was going to start my own travelling contracting business, and I was 22 years old, and I in my mind I couldn't see why it wouldn't work. I just slap a big sticker on the side of my ute, drive around, and everyone will just get me around to bang some fans in or something.
Yeah.
And no one ever called me. but before I moved to Brisbane, and before I even got a chance to even do anything with it, I got into FIFO. I was on this job, and this guy's. I said, I'd like to give FIFO a crack. And he goes, try this number. Called it, and I was out there 2 weeks later, so didn't really get a chance to ever do it.
What was the name of your business?
Brown Dog Electrical Contracting, Travelling Electrician.
I think the name was a bit long, mate.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, tell me that again. That's a lot.
Maybe that was the problem.
Say it one more time.
Brown Dog Electrical Contracting and Travelling Electrician.
That's a bloody long name. All right. Hey, if you could have a billboard to say any message for people to see, what would the message be? It can be simple, it doesn't have to be deep.
Don't forget your socks.
Perfect. Love it. What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made?
Probably GoPro.
GoPro?
Yeah.
What's that?
Because it was so small, compact, you could take it anywhere, throw it in your pocket. You can dive with it.
How much is GoPro paying for you to say that, mate?
They pay me.
No, I agree. No, that's a good answer,
not
mate.
pay me anything, GoPro.
All right. What is an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love about
Unusual
yourself?
habit.
Do you have the people to go, what the?
I hum a lot.
That's a good one.
When I'll just be like sitting there next to people and they're like, why are you humming?
What do you hum? What songs?
Just songs, mate.
What's your
Whatever's on my mind.
New school or old school stuff?
Whatever.
Okay.
Whatever's going.
That's good. All right. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behaviour, or habit has most improved your life?
New belief. Probably when I was turning 30, I know a lot of people struggle with it, and I was like, didn't really give a fuck.
About what?
Turning 30, and that was really refreshing because it was coming up, and I was like, oh, wonder how I'm going to react to this, and then I turned it, and I was like, oh, I really don't care.
Yeah. That's a good one. No, I like that one. It's good. What advice would you give to a smart, driven college student, and what advice would you say for them to ignore? Let's go. Just high school student.
Oh, bring
It's
it
easier.
home.
It's better.
I would tell them to. Probably the advice I'd give would be just to relax a bit with time. Don't rush things. Don't rush into things, and there's always time. You make time for everything. Because you listen to a lot of people and you're like, oh, I want to do this now. I want to do this now. So just take your time.
Yeah.
It'll all be worth it. Like if you need to save some money, go overseas or whatever you're doing, go and work for 6 months, a year. It's not going to make that much of a difference.
What about if they said, I want to do FIFO, they were 18, straight out of school?
Yeah, I'd encourage it, definitely.
Yeah.
If I'd say probably to make a plan and stick to it. Talk about the money side of it and how it doesn't last forever and jobs don't last forever. So to plan it out and stick to those plans.
Good answer. I agree, yeah, definitely. What are bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise? So people, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, real estate's a big one.
So this is FIFO workers?
Yeah.
So they talk often?
They're like a lot of guys will talk about buying houses and like you start throwing like $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 around. And they're like, oh, you should get into the market, blah blah blah. And so, but I don't believe that you should ever buy something that you couldn't maintain if you weren't on a normal wage.
Yeah, right.
So that's, and I've been given that advice from not only FIFO people, but the same thing from loan brokers and real estate agents because they go, oh, they know what your wage is, and they're obviously going to take a piece of that if you buy off them, and they'll try and get you to overspend.
Yeah. So I suppose it's an option. If you're in FIFO, you can probably get a lot more finance than what you can support back on a normal wage. Yeah, that's a good one. In the last 5 years, what have you become better at saying no to? What new realizations have helped?
I probably, when saying no, I would probably relate that back to more of myself. Like I'm better at. I used to make poor financial decisions because you have a disposable income. I'd go, oh, I want that, and I go and buy it.
Right.
And now
For example, what's something?
Just like electronics are always
Anything at all.
Yeah.
If there's something you want, you just buy it.
Yeah, like electronics are a big one. Computers, laptops, whatever. And that's that sort of thing. Like those material things that aren't really, you don't really need.
Yeah.
So that's what I've become better at. When I see something now and I go, oh, I want that, I go, oh, do I really need it? Yeah.
And do you think that's a common thing in FIFO for dudes to?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course.
It happened to me actually.
Yeah. I think anyone that's in FIFO goes through that stage where they buy shit that they don't need.
Yeah.
And regret it.
Yeah. I agree. All right, last question. When you feel overwhelmed or lost focus temporarily, what do you do? What questions do you ask yourself to get back on track also?
I find the going out and getting into the bush or surf or somewhere remote is a good way to clear my head. Go for a bushwalk or something like that.
Yeah.
Surf. Yeah. What was the second part? What questions do I
Yeah.
ask?
What questions do you ask yourself to get back on track?
I try and play a scenario over. It's like, oh, well, what if I go and make this decision? Where will that lead to? Yeah, that sort of thing. I try and rationalise it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's those questions done. So in terms of FIFO, back on track with FIFO, what are some valuable things or things you've learned or observed in FIFO that common mistakes, I suppose, that guys are making? And
probably going back to the spending thing.
Right.
Like you see a lot of guys living beyond their means and beyond what they really need.
Right.
And I'm very guilty of it myself, where you have that money coming in, so you go, I can always get a job, I can always earn this money next week, next year, whatever. So you just spend it and it's a bit of a trap where you can end up in debt and having to need a job. The jobs aren't always there, so and that creates a lot of stress in your life and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Great. All right. Finally, what's your most memorable experience in FIFO?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this just before. I think it's the friendships that were made out there. Like it's amazing because you've got guys from all over Australia and the world, all thrown in a big basket in this one job. And when I first started, it was a lot of guys were same sort of age. Like majority of the guys there were sort of mid-20s to mid-30s, so everyone was doing the same thing. And you could always find someone that wanted to go on a snowboarding trip, go on a surf trip, like that sort of thing. Everyone's got the money to do it, so you can do these really cool things. Where, like, in normal life, it's hard to find a bunch of guys on the same page.
And without the funding to
the
support
financial
that sort
side
of
of it,
Yeah, right, cool. Alrighty, well, I think that's about it. Is there any other things you got to say about FIFO or things you'd like to share? Because you've got a pretty big audience listening right now. So.
No, I can't think of anything.
Alrighty, no dramas. Well, thanks for coming on the show, mate. I appreciate it.
Too easy.
And I'm sure it's about to go viral.
Go viral.
Yeah.
Big time.
Thanks, mate.
Too easy.